Rise and shine, Value Farm family. Welcome back to another episode of The Farm. If you're new here, you are most welcome. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and also turn your notification bells on. And of course, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for being part of the family, and thank you so much for following our journey at Value Farm. We really appreciate you guys so much. I'm right here with my co-director. Say hello to them.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Grafton, co-director here as the one and only Value Farm. And I just want to thank you guys again for coming back. And for those of you that are here for the first time, welcome to the Value Farm family. And as you can see today, we're standing back inside the Paddock A.
Yes.
And there's a few changes that are happening behind us. This is the last time we were here.
Exactly.
So go ahead, you want to tell them what we're doing today?
Super happy to be at the farm and seeing all the changes, the progress that we've got so far from this part. I know the previous time that we came here, it was just a mere paddock that was in here, but we are building a standard goat structure for our goats, and of course expanding on the exercising yard for our goats. So that is the major update, and of course also giving you guys the cost of building a standard structure for the goat house right here.
Exactly. So guys, the first thing we had to do, it's not great to keep the goats locked up in their house all day long. We always like to have an exercise yard for them to come out, stretch their legs. Now, the reason we actually are doing this facility specifically is because we do have the imported Boer goats that we've started to import here, and we plan to continue to import because we want to continue to enhance the breeds here at Value Farm to make your life easier. I mean, we suffer so you don't. Right? So because of that, you know,
you learn from our mistakes.
Absolutely. So what we did, we actually have this paddock, the first paddock here. Yeah. So this is going to be like the next house we're building is behind us.
Behind us, right
for the more exotic goats that are not really used to the terrain. So you don't want to take the chance of free ranging those goats. So what you would do is actually you have the exercising yard. They get to stretch their legs. They get to actually take their meals and their troughs and everything else. And so to build this paddock, the actual poles itself, we ended up using about 120, roughly, give or take. And each pole was around like 2,500 shillings. Yeah. So you can translate that into USD for everybody. Yeah. And then here, the wire mesh, right, itself, I believe was 115,000 each.
115 a roll.
A roll?
And we use like 8 rolls here.
Yeah. So, I mean, the prices may vary based on where you are. Then again, we decided to use these extra large poles. Some of you might not have to use these extra large poles. Some of you might be in an area where you have your own trees that you can cut. Hopefully when you cut, you replant and replenish, because we want to keep things green here. So you might go that route, but ultimately that's the rough course for those materials. Of course, nails were minimal. I think we used about like 7 to 10 kgs of nails and a kg of nail here. The hardware store we would go to, it's roughly around like 4,000 to 5,000 shillings.
4,500,
somewhere
4,000 around there.
kg.
But still depends on where you're going to buy. Because remember when we went to Wakiso and Esther was telling us their prices were quite different from what we had here.
Like 40 or 50,000.
Yeah, exactly. And another beauty about the poles that we got, of course, from our neighbor, that we cut the whole tree and we divided it into we got like 6 to 5 poles each tree. And of course they are replanting, of course, so it was something of cost saving, and also transportation from where we normally buy our poles from. So it was
and it's always good to support your neighbors.
Support neighbors.
Like it could be a little painstaking to see the trucks coming in from Kampala, and yet your neighbors here, things are tough. And then you're not supporting. So if there's a way you can do something to support them by buying raw goods and materials from them, you should absolutely do that.
Support your people
as much as you can.
That is so true. And what is really exciting about this goat structure, I know it is quite different from the first structure. So this one here, we decided to use the concrete poles at the base.
The first structure itself is the epic goat structure for Value Farm. This version here, the reason we decided to go this route is because we always like to clean the goat house itself, right? So when you use the regular wooden columns, what it does, it actually makes it a little tricky, because if you have to scrub down Sometimes the water may actually pull down in certain section. It may actually end up rotting the wood.
True.
I mean, it works, especially if you have a house that you built on a slope.
Yeah.
But where we built the first house, it's still fine. That house is going to be with us for quite some time.
For some time.
But then in life, the goal is always to improve. We learned from the first house that we built.
Exactly.
Now we're building house number two. We wanted to apply the lesson that we've learned from the first house.
Exactly.
And make sure that we improve upon it. Now, it might seem like using the concrete pole might actually cost more money. Believe it or not, it does slightly cost a little bit more upfront because the price of cement went up
the rocks
to some degree.
Yeah.
But by the same token, we had to use 4 more poles in the first house because again, we needed to be able to distribute the weight of the house
that is so true.
Evenly using those poles. And so using the concrete, we only had to put 30 poles in total.
30 poles down.
That other house, I believe there was close to 500 poles
there
underneath
was so
that
many.
house. So the upfront cost might seem a little bit higher, but the longevity, the long term, this house is gonna be with us, you know, for at least 15 plus years because it's easy to just replenish and repair a few missing planks here and there.
Yeah.
Versus having to build a whole house from scratch.
Yeah.
You understand? Because when one of those poles start to get rotten out, you can't just lift the edge of the house
you can't.
and put another one. You understand? I mean, you could try to mitigate your losses as much as possible, but by the same token, we opted to go this route because we wanted it to be a little easier. This particular pose is actually the actual elevation of this house is actually
a little high.
gonna actually be close. It's gonna be 4 feet off the ground versus the 3.5 feet off the ground on the other side. And the reason we wanted to come up that high is to make sure that because when the ghosts themselves urinate, you know, we wanted the higher they are off the ground, the tougher the ammonia
cannot reach
can't really reach them. But the lower they are to the ground, the ammonia is right there. There's no escape. There's no chance.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to build it a little bit higher. But we'll keep you guys up to date
Of course.
with the progress that we're gonna make throughout. And hopefully you subscribe to stick around to find out.
Yes, then of course the kids' house is also coming up. That one is also coming. So we shall definitely show you guys the section that we're going to build, their separate section, because we really want them to be very safe. We've learned from our mistakes, all that, but that is also coming up. So please subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss out on all these updates because, you know, people have really reached out to us asking, you know, I want to come on ground, but you definitely come here when everything is set up properly so that you can even learn more better from us. But really appreciate you guys for loving Value Farm, for following, for sharing. The numbers are going up. Guys, we really appreciate. We are on a goal to 100K subscribers. So if you haven't already subscribed, please just hit the red button and tell your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell your friends and families as well so that they can join. Do not keep all this information to yourselves. And of course, us coming here to show you guys the updates, it's all about us sharing and also motivating other people.
And I wanted to make sure that we get this on the record as well.
Yes.
You know, the reason this was an important video for us to do, for us to share with you, do not look at this starting point and get discouraged.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people may see that we're building something like this and they're thinking, they're looking at their budgets and they're like, oh, I don't have the money to do what these guys are doing. It's okay. Because guess what? In the beginning, we didn't have it either. It took time, it took saving, it took planning, it took us learning lessons from the beginning of the farm to where we are today. So if you can start with this material, start with what you have. And if you can't build a fancy raised house, you know what? As long as you actually have a place to keep your goats warm, you keep that place clean, you start there. Because a lot of the time people in this field, a lot of people try to wait for the perfect time. My dad used to always tell me 2 things. Number 1, there's no such thing as being half pregnant. It's either you're pregnant or you're
not.
And number two, there's never gonna be, as a man or as a woman, you're never gonna get to a point in your life where you're gonna feel like you're ready to become a dad or become a mom. It's just one of those things that you're always gonna try to wait for the perfect time. When the time comes, the time comes. You understand? You plan as much as you can, but at some point you have to start.
Exactly.
So don't wait for the perfect time, don't wait for the perfect window, because there's no such thing as perfection. There's another thing, do not let perfect be the enemy of good. You know, when you get to the point in your life where your budget is okay, you feel like you can make a move. You might not be able to start out with like 50 to 70 goats, but if you can start out with 4, with 3, you just start. You understand? A lot of people are making this mistake where they're getting paralyzed by trying to plan the perfect entry point. It doesn't work like that.
True.
If you want to become a farmer, you start. You know, you plan it as much as you can. Start looking for reputable breeders.
True.
You find a place warm to keep your goats. And as you start to grow and develop and understand what you're doing a bit more, then you enhance. You improve on your process. Because let's face it, even your doctor had to go through his or her rotationals.
True.
Right? In order for them to get to the point where they became proficient enough to practice on their own. So ultimately, that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Don't get scared. Don't get nervous. You know, use the materials you can afford to use.
You can afford,
whether it's rough cuts, hardwood, whatever you have access to, that's what you use. But the most important thing is you have to start.
Yes. Starting is really very key, by the way, because do not just stay so long without, you know, you keep that dream to yourself. Years are going by and prices are going up. So guys, you better start with the little you have, then you keep increasing with time. But I really appreciate inspirational message that people really appreciate all the time. So if in case you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and please do not forget to check out our social media platforms. That is Instagram, Value Farm UG, Facebook, Value Farm. Please go check us out. Go and check the behind the scenes. I'll be posting there very soon as well, so that you can see what is actually happening in the farm. It's growing and we are preparing for you guys to come here. But we love you guys so much. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.